Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Unsecurity Podcast, episode 202 today. I'm your host, Oscar Minks, and joined, as always, by the wonderful Brad Nye. Hey, Brad, how's it going, man?
It's going well. Got nice and steamy up here for you. It's been like 90 every day this week. So
Yeah,
everybody
summer
coming
is
up.
summer is here. I know we have our big company party next week, which everyone's really excited for. And I'm super excited to come into town, get to see you, Brad, get to see a lot of the faces I don't get to see on the regular, and it's a super awesome time. Last year it was nice and cool when we were up there. We're still getting some of that extended Minnesota springtime, but
Yeah,
it sounds like the heat is here.
I think it'll be nice. The
Yeah,
long term looks like low 80s, so it'll be nice.
yeah. It's kind of funny. So I was listening to an interview that Brad recently done with the recruiter,
Yeah,
and it's an awesome interview, Brad. You did a
thank you.
fantastic job on there,
Thank
and
you.
he does a really good job too of driving the conversation, asking
Yeah.
really good questions.
Oh,
But I was
good.
going to poke fun at you today because I thought it was funny. It's like you Minnesotans always talk about the weather. It's like, yeah, they
Yep.
do always talk about the weather.
Yep. Hey, when you live in the state that has the largest air temperature swing in an annual year, I think you earned the right.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, you guys get, and I look at it like this. You're like, it's super cold. You're like, oh man, you kind of grind it out, and then when it gets nice out, everyone's super excited about that. So you're going to bring that up and
Yep.
talk about it.
Yep. And then it gets super hot, and everybody's like, "Oh, it's too hot out."
Yeah, yeah. I'm going to tell you, you guys, you Minnesotans just complain about your weather too much. It's too cold. It's too hot. You got to pick one, man.
Nope.
It's funny. I kind of give my mom a hard time. I notice, like, as she gets a little older and older, she doesn't deal with the heat as well as she used to, and
Mhm.
she doesn't deal with the cold as well as she used to. And so it's usually too hot or too cold here in Kentucky as well. And I'm like, Mom, it can't just be 65 degrees every day of the year. She's like,
Right.
but I wish it would be. I'm like, yeah, don't we all?
Yeah, you got to move to like San Diego for that. What's
Yeah,
the forecast? Sunny and nice.
yeah. Yeah, things are going good down here too, man. It's summer's in full effect and it's beautiful out. And just got back from a awesome trip. I spent last week in Montana. It was super cool. Got to hang with John for a while and got to go fishing on.
Nice.
Did some floats on the river a couple days. I did some exploring in the national forest out there, and it was fantastic. Just
That's
really had a
awesome.
wonderful time. Yeah,
It's so nice to get away and unplug and just decompress
yeah,
like that.
yeah. It was fantastic. When I first got out there, it's like always we talk about this. Like it takes you a couple days to kind of adjust. But the
Yeah.
good news is we spent the weekend in the national forest. I didn't have any service out there, so nobody could
Yeah.
find me if they wanted to. And so it kind
Yeah.
of forced me into that mode of saying, "Nope, you're going to unplug."
Yeah. You have to. You have to make it
Yeah,
intentional. So,
yeah,
but, yeah,
yeah.
we
It's
finished. I was gonna say, yeah, last week while you're doing that, uh, this week we finished up the mentor program. So that was
oh,
a
very cool.
success.
Yeah, excellent. And for our listeners, we had like close to 20,000
It
participants
was
this
over
year.
20.
Over 20. Wow. And
So
last year, do you remember our number last year?
13 something.
Yeah, it's
13, like
insane. I know
13.
last year when we got to 13,000, it was like, wow, it's monumental. And then we almost doubled it a year later, which
I
is
know.
fantastic. I mean, I think it goes to show like you do the right thing. We're doing the service for free. There's no expectations of money or monetary gain on the back end. We just realize there's a gap in information security professionals. So you know what? Let's try to help people reach those goals and get that training. And um, it just kind of pays off in dividends. And then when people really learn, like this is for the right mission and it's not for profit, it's just a further education. You can see those things catch like wildfire.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah, I know. We had a lot of people that have done it several years just
Mm-hmm.
because it is such a huge amount of information. And,
Mm-hmm.
now we've got, 4 or 5 instructors and hopefully a few more next year. So you can start getting slightly different viewpoints on it. So you're not hearing me
Mm-hmm.
talk about the same thing every time.
Yeah.
But as an instructor, though, it's also good because a lot of that stuff, that's the only time of year I even think about it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
You
it's good
know,
for you to stay refreshed because you have
right,
to teach the content. And so,
right.
yeah,
Yeah.
100%, man.
So that's good.
Yeah, it's super cool. Yeah, so I've been working this week I'm working on an annual State of the Union info security report and also pulling in some digital forensics and instant response data. And I have to like give some kudos to our team. Um, let me pull up this. So I was looking through last year. In total, we had around 60 cases, right? This is 2022. It's pretty good. The guys were pretty busy, and on top of the cases, right, we're doing playing coaching, we're doing tabletops, we're doing the VC Sim program, all these things, and so ransomware readiness, and on and on and on. So the gang was busy last year, but it was really neat. I was looking, and we only actually had 5 true ransomware cases last year, meaning our victims were fully encrypted. There was only 5. Now we had 38 other cases where that could have became ransomware.
Wow, that's
right.
Pretty good success rate there.
Yeah, it's amazing, and it goes back to like what we always talk about: have a plan, know what your plan is, be able to effectively and quickly report, and then effectively and quickly respond. I've talked about that before on here. The mean time to respond is just as important as that mean time to detect. And we see a lot of like early responders. This is just the proof right here that
I was going to say, of those
validates.
You said it was 5 that were encrypted?
5 that were encrypted, and we didn't get called till post encryption on all of those.
That was my question: is were they already encrypted when they reached out?
Yeah, and I'm not saying to anyone listening that like we can stop an encryption event, because sometimes we just can't. That's the reality. But I can say that, and I need to verify, but I think all 5 of those, they called us post encryption, and we began our response. Into 38 of the threat hunt or pre. Now some of those I looked through, like there were a lot of false positives, and I give kudos to people for that too. Where it's saying, hey, I don't know, I'm not skilled to properly investigate this, but I know something's wrong. Can you help me? And what is it like when you're a partner of ours? You already have some hours anyway. What does that hurt? You do that, we get right on it. We're able to look at these things and say, cool, nothing to worry about here. There was a big fat false positive, which we love to see and our clients love to see. And it doesn't hurt anything. And then now I can say there were some of those, right? But a lot of these other conversations started the same way. We're not sure what this is. And we say, oh yeah, you've had a compromise, but luckily it's isolated to this one system. So we're able to isolate that system, investigate that system, and make sure you've got a clean bill of health, get that attacker out of your environment, move on.
Well, it's easy to get the attacker out. You just eject the CD.
Yeah, just eject the CD. That's it. Yeah, it's a good inside joke though. Yeah, and I was thinking about like topics for today, and it was funny. Like I almost was like, let's just, because I've also, as part of this exercise, I've been looking at a lot of assessment data, like hundreds of assessments, right? And I'm not going to give away the stats right here. I don't have them in front of me. I don't want to speak incorrectly, but I can say that of all the assessments that I've been reviewing, less than half of the folks actually have an incident response plan, and even fewer than less than half are actually obviously testing their incident response plan, right? Yeah. So I see that number go down exponentially again. But then also it's another very astounding thing, which isn't astounding to me, I say that kind of baited, but is that almost everyone has a cyber insurance plan. And I've had this theory for a long time that people falsely believe that their cyber insurance is their incident response plan, right?
I can see that, yep.
And we know that's not the case, right? They're different things. You don't always have to use cyber insurance if you have a potential incident. Like talk about those false positives, right? Have the plan to be able to respond to that, properly investigate that. And then if it is severe, then you can trigger your insurance engagement, right? And you know how to do that. And so I started thinking about like, maybe we talk about what makes a good incident response plan. But then I was like, you know what? That's an episode. That's a later episode. But today, all I want to say is, you know what I believe? Actually, I'm going to ask you, what makes a good incident response plan, Brad?
Honestly, it's that you just have something.
Yeah.
But that people are trained on it and know where it is and what their responsibility is.
100%. Those are my thoughts. Have a plan. Make sure you know what that plan says, and your people that have responsibilities in that plan, they know about the plan too.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have to be perfect in the beginning. Just have the damn plan.
Yeah. I did a little mini IR tabletop with one of my VCSOs, and it was a pretty standard scenario. And I was like, all right, so here's the scenario. When you find this out, what's the first thing you do? And he goes, I'm calling you.
Yeah.
Well, all right. I guess, that's your incident response plan is calling FRSecure. If there's anything suspicious. Okay, this is
That's
criminal.
yeah, that's fair. I'll give him that. That's fair. But also to him, understand we're going to need your team to help us
Yeah.
too, and understand
Oh
this
yeah,
is
he
going to
was
be a
totally
joint
good.
effort, right? So make
Yeah.
sure whoever your sysadmins are, your network admins,
Yeah.
your DBAs, your developers are, your backup coordinators, like make sure they're ready at the helm because we
Yeah.
need them to be
Yeah.
successful.
And he was kind of half joking about that,
Yeah,
but
we've heard that before too, and
yeah, it's pretty
hey,
funny.
I get it. Yeah, call us for sure. We're going to help you, and I'm not going to be mad at you if that's your. I mean, I'm not going to be mad at you if that's your plan. I'm going to help you say, let's really get you a plan. But that's a good
Mhm.
first start. Like, call us and we'll help you get through those
Yeah.
things.
Yeah.
But
We
let's
walked
plan
through
internally
it,
too.
and the important thing is, even if you call us, like you said, we're still going to need your staff's help. So let's get
Hmm.
them understanding the thought process and what we'd be looking for. What are the common things we see? Kind of those red herrings. How do you avoid going down a rabbit hole that's going to not help you? So
Hmm.
it was very productive.
Yeah, those things are so much fun. Like anybody who hasn't been through a tabletop exercise, people get nervous about this and feel like it's like a blame game, right? We're just going to come in,
No,
we're going to tell you things you're doing wrong. Like, no, it's never the case. The goal is just to maybe have a realization, teach you something you didn't know, get a better idea for how we construct your plan, improve your plan,
yep,
make sure your people know what that plan says and they can act accordingly when we have to invoke it. Those
yep,
things. And they're actually really fun. I mean, we did one ourselves
yep,
internally. We do those every year, and they're super fun. And it's great too because like I live and breathe this. Brad lives and breathes this. But if we look at like our finance and accounting team, they're not thinking
right,
about this every day, but they have to be involved.
right,
Our tech team, they're not thinking about this, not seeing it every day like we are, but they have to be involved. And so it's really good to just bring everyone in a room, and you're going to have a lot of fun, get some creative ideas and input you probably didn't have before. And
hmm,
everybody's going to come out probably going, I see why this is important now,
yep,
and I understand why we have to have this, why we have to do this.
yeah, yeah. There's always too. It's always fun both running them, but also being in there because, well,
Hmm.
especially coming from living, breathing it, you get to kind of have a couple of chuckles when you see people have that oh moment and the light
Yeah.
bulb goes off, and you're like, yeah, all right,
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, the last one here is I was setting on the end of if I was a client, and going through
mhm,
that. And yeah, it's a lot of fun. I don't have to prepare anything. I don't have to write the
right,
report. I'm just going to sit in and play my role. And that's
right,
always fantastic.
yep, that's more fun.
Yeah, but you're right. There is always the oh shoot moment that
Hmm.
you're going to have somebody in that room is going to be like, "Uh-oh, I didn't think about this. I see why this is important now." And that's kind of the goal, right?
Hmm.
Have that light bulb moment so they
Yep.
understand the relevance and the importance.
So,
Yeah, so I was thinking through that too. I was looking through the data and the analysis I'm doing right now, and something I know we've touched on the hackle box. I don't think we've talked about it a lot here, but is malvertising, and then even like malverposting, which is kind of a play on malvertising. And there was a big thing that came out a couple months ago where Google ads and Google search results, like those first few links you get when you search for a tool or search for anything,
hmm,
but really like the malvertising is focused on like tools and application downloads. They discovered the majority of those sponsored links were actually hosting malware. And so people were inadvertently looking for a tool for their job, and then they download malicious content onto their system. And I was looking through a lot of these cases, and it's we had a significant amount of cases last year that originated with those malvertising or drive-by attacks where a user was just looking for a tool that would help their productivity, and they clicked the link and downloaded something malicious and inadvertently were compromised.
yeah,
And so I thought it would just be useful to hit on that and then talk about the play that we're start seeing now on Malverposting, which is using those same kind of techniques but trying to implement that on social media networks. And I think it's relevant. And we talk about like, the holiday season's fishing season, which fishers fish all year, but we see those fishing campaigns increase during the holiday
mhm,
season. And I think as we are about to embark upon another election cycle, and we know that a lot of information is shared on social media networks pertaining to elections, that I believe we're going to start to see an increase in malware posting and attackers trying to essentially use play on the psyche of humans because we're all going to be
Yep.
interested in those election cycles, and use that as an opportunity to compromise systems and compromise
Yeah.
users.
You know, it's funny because you posted that, and I was like, that's in our training from
Mm-hmm.
2018. It's becoming far more prevalent,
Yeah.
but it's not a new technique.
Mm-mm.
And it just goes back to the need for training and awareness for your users and how critical that
Mm-hmm.
really is.
Yeah, it's definitely not a new technique. This and neither is malvertising. These drive-by attacks. They've been around
Right,
for since the dawn of the internet, I believe.
right. It seems to be there's been an uptick,
Yeah, I think
but
there has, and it's kind of like I talked to some of our red teamers, and they have this recurring conversation where like what's old is new again,
mhm,
and what we mean is like some of these attacks that were able to be circumvented by our detection technologies. So people kind of stopped using those. It's like, well, I can't do that anymore. The detection methods have gotten good.
mhm,
And so our detection technologies weren't as focused on keeping those up to speed with the underlying foundations that may have changed. And so I think we're seeing this evolution where attackers are saying, let's circle the wagons and let's have another go at this and see. And that's as like in malvertising or malverposting, which is, you know, sharing malicious content. We'll talk about that a little bit more through like social media networks. Um, they're seeing that success rate. And one of the keys, right, is that, Facebook in this example, like Facebook does have policies in place for what's appropriate and inappropriate content.
mhm.
But they're seeing now that they're actually able to embed this inappropriate content and kind of sneaking by those regulations and sneaking by those filters. And they're not able to detect those as well as they were before. And because of that, they're essentially just creating clickbait, and that should be restricted. However, it's not being restricted and tricking users into downloading malicious software.
Yeah, and please nobody fire flame me for this. I'm not. I feel bad for the Facebook and Google's because it's a constant cat and mouse game. Now,
Mm-hmm.
should they have the resources to stay up on this? Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
they're not without fault here, but we see it all the time. It's always as the air quote good guy, you're always a step behind because there's
Mm-hmm.
laws and regulations and things we have to follow that the
Mm-hmm.
criminals don't care about.
Sure. Yeah, you have to think about with them. It's always like, what's the highest priority? And I'm with you. Like, I don't want to get flamed for this, but I know there's a lot that goes on behind the scenes in trying to protect those channels.
Right.
And we look at, even you talk about like it's been our training for 4 or 5 years plus right now. But think about how that landscape has evolved in the last 5 years. And so the priorities of those trying to protect that landscape have probably evolved with that. And I like to
Mhm.
think about it from a simple business perspective, right? So if I'm running a business and we're having a problem with continually being phished and having our users continually fall victim to those phishing emails, right? I'm going to focus really, really hard on that email
Mhm.
gateway system, right? And try to
Yep.
tune those emails out while training my people. But let's train the people, but let's try to prevent them from ever having the opportunity to interact. Okay, so we do that. We have a 6 month effort. We focus on tuning that technology. We get real damn good at filtering those emails. What happens then from a business perspective? Oh, we solved that problem. Let's move on to
Yep.
the next
Move
problem,
on.
right? So they move on to the next problem and they don't have eyes on that with the same level of scrutiny they did before. And guess what? It's going to creep up again because those
Yep.
techniques of evading the detection systems in your email gateway are going to get more sophisticated. They're going to get better. They're eventually going to find a way around that. And so I think it's kind of the same thing in the social media world, right? They probably think,
Yep.
hey, we got that one under control. We have detection methods. This is pretty much automated now. So we're good. But our attackers find ways to evade that automated detection. And then you've got all this clickbait circling in that ecosphere again.
Mhm. Yep.
Yeah, so in this case, so there was a Vietnamese group. They believe it's a Vietnamese group. I'll say that has essentially been running an ongoing campaign, and the campaign is essentially focused on two things. One is compromising legitimate business, their Facebook page, and hopefully those Facebook businesses have ad credits, right? So then if they
Mhm.
have the ad credits, they'll be able to push their agenda. And they also are looking for businesses that have a reputation and trying to compromise those, while at the same time generating a whole plethora of fake profiles and fake pages. Right. So that's
Yep.
kind of how they start. Like, cool, we got this legit business. We're going to build all these fake profiles that are going to interact with that legitimate business, right? So it look like they're involved with that. We're going to use that compromised business now to serve up some Facebook ads because they already have an ad budget and ad credits in their system. Those Facebook ads in this situation are definitely not safe for work. They're very inappropriate.
Yeah.
Yeah, back to clickbait. And so they're trying to entice users to get this content that they typically don't see on that platform, and it's something that may be enticing enough for them to say,
Well,
oh, yeah, I want to check this out.
and if you're clicking that and downloading that type of material, odds are you're going to open it and
Exactly.
execute it, right? It's
Yeah.
so
That's what they're seeing, a very high rate of people who actually click this or following through with downloading the material and opening the material. And then, so once they click the link, they download a malicious file. It's a zip file. They open that zip file, and it looks like the zip file is full of images, right?
mhm.
But those images are actually just executables. They try to open the image, and the image that's actually an executable, it sends the victim to a decoy portal window. So it opens a browser, and it's like, oh, you still got what you wanted. You just got to log in here, blah, blah, blah. And so they still are not
Yeah.
suspecting they've been a victim. But at the same time, it's deploying a stealer payload on your workstation,
Yeah.
right?
Yep. Yeah. It's so
Yeah.
funny. It's like, I mean, it's such a standard attack.
Yeah. It's
I mean,
nothing new.
no.
Yeah. It's just, and all these are like psychological attacks. It's really social engineering, right? But using validation through those legitimate businesses, creating a false sense of validation through the troll farms that they create, right? So the user believes legitimate business. Oh, look at this user. This looks like an active, legitimate user. I can trust this content because it's a
Mhm.
legitimate business. And so, we continue to fall victim to that. I will say, like, the Steelers are getting more sophisticated. That's a difference between today
Yep.
and from 2018, 2017 before. Like this stiller, it comes embedded so it can harvest your credential sets. You have cached all your session cookies. It harvests crypto wallets, uh, all kinds of good stuff. But then it's also got a freaking C2 built in, so they can have
Right.
command and control with the stealer. Like, if you're in a business environment, not only are they going to steal all that information, they're also going to be able to use that tack to persist and laterally move and escalate privileges to ultimately steal all your business data or encrypt your business data.
Yep. Yeah. And the behind the scenes definitely has come a long way from
Mm-hmm.
2018, but the general process, I mean, it's still, it's like you said, what's old is new.
Yeah, what's old is new, man. Yeah. Um, the other thing that's really kind of interesting about this particular campaign is like they're targeting legitimate businesses with influence and the ability to post ads, right?
Mm.
Is think about how damaging that is to that business too, long term. So you work hard over time to build your social presence and be a trusted, reputable source online. And when your business page gets compromised and you start blasting out C2s and info stealers to all of your clients, that's going to be severe reputational damage that some of these businesses probably it could ruin their reputation online forever.
Well, and you got to look like a couple of the examples they have of legitimate businesses. One is an IT company, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well,
Yeah.
how do you think that's going to go over with your clients when you're
Yeah. Right.
blasting adult content and compromising their systems?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it's going to quickly erode trust.
Yeah.
The other thing that's kind of interesting about this, and like a lot of this malware they're using, they're betting like this is malware as a service too, right?
Hmm.
So anybody can start this campaign. This particular analysis that Brad and I were looking at is, put together by a Vietnamese APT. But that being said, anyone could follow the same attack path, and it's not even creating custom exploits anymore. It's
Right.
going to the dark web and finding these malware as a service actors, building that relationship, getting a piece of that malware, and then using that malware. This is kind of a funny cycle. I'm going to buy this malware. I'm going to initiate this malicious campaign. I'm going to harvest creds, cookies, all this stuff, and then I'm just going to go sell that back on the dark market. Right? So
Right.
it's just like any other contractor at this point. I'm going to
Yep.
buy the tools to do the job that I can harvest or mine the data to then resell so I can sustain my legitimate
Yeah.
malicious business.
That's
Legitimate
crazy.
malicious business. That's a funny thing to say, right?
Yeah. No. Yeah. It's kind of contradictory.
For
Uh,
sure.
I like how they identified that it was coming from Vietnam. You want
Hmm.
to talk about
Oh
that?
yeah, yeah, yeah. It was a little slip up on one of the images, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. The translation said, it's in Vietnamese under a picture of, you know, adult content. It says the English translation is, I am the text. Click here to add text and edit. Kind of easy. Simply click edit text or double click to add text and change fonts. I'm a great place for you to tell stories and let users know, dot, dot, dot.
Yeah, it was all in
Yeah.
Vietnamese.
It was all written out in Vietnamese, right? Yeah, that's probably a pretty good indicator that where it's coming from.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, and what's interesting about this particular campaign, I think they've estimated at this time there's been 500,000 victims since they've been
Mm-hmm.
studying this, right? And there were some statistics to talk about like how it is the same old techniques, but they are getting a little more sophisticated, right? So there's at this point they've essentially hijacked 10 businesses to start this campaign. They created 31 fake profiles.
Mm-hmm.
They started 348 ad campaigns, 129 different creatives, so different clickbait, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then for like their domains, they had 39 domains as part of this. Their C2s had 25 different C2 teams, home servers they could connect to, and 29 different payloads. This is a very well orchestrated attack, right?
Yeah,
Same old techniques, but they're going back and replaying those things, and they've gotten a lot more efficient.
yeah, it's crazy. Those are crazy numbers, and that was just over what they observed over a 14-day period.
14-day period. Yeah, insane. So be careful out there. I think that was kind of the point of this whole message is, and I know probably most of our listeners are aware of this. We just kind of wanted to reiterate that a lot of these things that were attacks of the past, they're still present. They're going to continue to be present. They're going to evolve, and we have to continually be aware and protect ourselves. But even also, we talk about this a lot. It's not just us that are practitioners; it's those around us. Making sure your family, your friends, your grandma, grandma's got a computer now. Make sure she's aware of these things because, I mean, I've seen some really sad things that can happen, like when folks are getting their credentials to their bank account compromised and they don't have MFA on that account set up and they're able to extract funds and ACH fraud. And so it's a
Mm-hmm.
bad day. Let's all try to just help each other and be aware.
Yeah, yeah, and I will say this: reading through some of the, more technical about how they actually, what the sealer payload does. It was a pretty. I thought it was a pretty good
Mm-hmm.
write up. And again, what are we seeing? They're using common system tools from hard drive manufacturers
Yeah.
that you're going to find on most desktop systems, and then they're
Yeah.
sideloading the DLL.
And they're sideloading a DLL too. So it's like Western Digital and Seagate
Mm-hmm.
software, right? System tools.
Right.
And they have a malicious DLL embedded in that. It's actually based upon a legitimate DLL. They've just inserted obfuscated code, malicious code that includes, the next steps to get that C2 deploy the stealers, blah, blah, blah. And so it's very difficult for our EDR technologies and antivirus technologies to detect that because I think it starts with a signed Western Digital application, a
Yep.
signed Seagate application. And so it doesn't go under as much scrutiny. It's a little more challenging to detect those things.
Yep. I also, I mean, I'm just kind of reading through it that how they found all this out is the attacker left a debug database file in the zip that they
I've
were
seen
able to
that.
pull that. And
Yeah.
the username that was used to compile it was Elon Musk.
Yeah. Wait, Elon
Uh,
Musk doesn't work for Western Digital or Seagate? What?
oh gosh, weird.
Yeah, so we'll throw this link up. We'll get that to the marketing team so you guys can familiarize with that a little bit and hopefully not become a victim or prevent someone near you from becoming a victim as well. I do think this is going to pick up, though. I don't know what you think, Brad. I think the clickbait's just going to change, man. You think about how much clickbait we see when the election cycles start up, and we know that social media has been a very popular platform to spread misinformation and clickbait.
Right.
And I think right now they're focusing on like not safe for work adult content. We're going to see that evolve,
Well,
especially with the success they've had in such a short period of time.
right. It's what you see as cyclical, right? It's going to
Mm-hmm.
be whatever the hot topic is. Adult content is always going to get clicks. Let's just be
Mm-hmm.
honest. So that's always kind of a safe fallback for them.
Right.
But gosh, you don't think you're going to see Super Bowl malvertising around the Super Bowl leading up to it,
Right.
or college football or Christmas. It's going to be whatever the big newsworthy thing is. Like, if there's a natural disaster, well, guess what? Aid
Yep.
campaign, right? So
It's so funny you mentioned the Super Bowl. Do you remember that ad this year that was just the QR code up? It was like, scan this QR code
yeah,
now. And it was like, I'm like, no way, I'm not scanning
nope,
that. Like, put your
yeah,
phones down, don't scan it.
yeah,
And it's probably fine. It's the
right.
reality, but I'm just so trained to never trust a QR code. Which COVID, going to restaurants during COVID, that got super challenging. You had to be like, all right, if I want to see the menu, I got to scan the damn
Yeah,
code, and that really makes me angry. Just
yep.
print a menu, hand it to me. I don't care. I'll take the COVID risk. Hand me the menu.
Just give me a piece of paper and I'll recycle it after I'm done.
Yeah. Oh, too funny, man. Too funny. Well, cool, man. It's just been a fun episode. Before we bounce, let's give some kudos out. What do you want to give some kudos, some mad props to, or just who do you appreciate, Brad?
Yeah, I'm gonna give some kudos to our VDRM working group again. They're, you know, this is a painful process. Anytime you roll out a brand new service, from going from, yeah, I get it because I created it, to teaching others and filling in the gaps where, okay, I think my documentation is pretty good, and they're like, how did you get from A to C? I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
all right. So they've been really patient with, running into roadblocks and confusion, and being patient with, my response. So just shout out to that group, and
Yeah, very cool.
appreciate how much work they've done.
Heck yeah, they are fantastic, man. I'm gonna give a shout out to Amy, our HR manager. I don't know. I think that's her official title. She's fantastic. Does a great job. Always has a good mood, a positive aspect. But she set up some training, and we're doing like some competency modeling and leadership planning and stuff that she coordinated and put together for us with a third party. And we had a really long session today, but it was so much fun, and I was happy. Like, we got somebody here in her position now that's kind of helping us like focus on herself a little bit and her internal growth. And we don't really talk about that side of the business a whole lot. The HR business and security is
Yeah.
never like the sexy fun side of business, but we sure needed her to be part of our team, and she's just done a fantastic job. And so I think she deserves a shout out today. So thanks, Amy. You're awesome. I don't know that she ever listens to us because she probably thinks we're just like nerd talking, which I guess we
I don't
kind of
think we
are. That's
are.
okay.
I'll pile on and say, yeah, she's awesome because she's clearly a smart person. She sends her kids to the same school my son goes to. So
Right?
there you go.
Super cool. So I'm not going to tell her I gave her a shout out today, and then over time we'll just realize if she listens or
Yeah.
not, because I bet she'll call that
Oh yeah.
out. All right. Well, thanks again, Brad, for another awesome episode. Thanks to all our listeners. Hope you guys all enjoyed this. And just a reminder, if you have questions, you have comments, thoughts, send us an email. We'd love to hear from you sometime. And otherwise, have a safe and wonderful week. See you guys.